All right. So with this, so you're looking for two targets: Eratos Severa and Mamiya Strelitz. They are the two leaders of the MRG that are the highest up the chain of command. Um, so let's see. Let me get the screen share up so I can screen one. There we go. Awesome. All right. So this will be. Oh, did it? The compound. Okay. Sweet. Sweet. Awesome. All right. So with this, I'm going to use this to kind of mark. So the shuttle is going to land here, and from there, yep. So that should be. We're trying to think of anything else you need information on. Anything you'd have. So you've got the four of you with three NPCs. They're not going to know you're there initially, but they are going to be patrolling. So if they come across your shuttlecraft or y'all, uh, they will try to alert everybody else. So they are, I believe, a half a foot thick, so cinder block. You can blow holes in them with some explosive breaching, but you're limited to one explosive breaching per team member. Yes. So the doors you can go through. You don't have to worry about using explosive breaches on that. But any walls you want to go through, you'll have to use that. So the outer gates are going to be all metal. The outer doors are going to be all metal, but the inner doors are usually going to be wood. Um, Nothing you can't kick through. Um, so yeah, so two of you, I'm assuming you and one other, are going to carry fragmentation grenades, two fragmentation grenades, and then two of you are going to carry flashbangs, and you have two flashbangs for each of those. So you have a total of four frags and four flashes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Okay. So with y'all's weapons, you will have suppressors. So the only times you have to worry about alerting anyone is if they find a dead body or if you do shoot too close. Because I mean suppressors work, but only within a certain range. So anyone, mhm, take a look. All right. So roll for a like on the term perspective perception. Sorry. Yes. Thank you. Roll for perception. Uh, with your heads up display, you probably have a plus two. So with a nine, looking through the door as you and the squad move up, you don't seem to see anyone down this immediate hallway, but you can only see about halfway down. It's pretty dark and rainy and dreary, so you can only see about halfway down. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So as you and the team try to sneakily cross this way, it seems pretty clear from the other side of the door, inside of this compound over here on the right. You can hear what sounds like laughter and possibly a TV. Um, Otherwise, it seems clear where you're at currently. You can't detect anyone. So that is going to be a 5 foot retaining wall. It's climbable, but it will take a full movement action to get over. So if you are climbing over and you get shot at, you cannot fire back until you're on the other side of the wall. So it'll be like if one guy gets over and there's people over here, he's on his own until the rest get over. Yeah. So he peeks over and roll for perception. Yep, yep. Oh, awesome. So at the far end down here, you see two guards standing near this gate where these two doors are, and you see one other guard standing, kind of walking around this building over here. All have weapons, but aren't really alerted or look like they're looking for anyone. So the two right here are kind of like sitting in these seats. They one is kind of looking more towards this way, like in an angle cone. The other one is looking across back at him. Neither of them could see you if you were over the wall. Now the one over here, he's patrolling around. When he's in this section where he currently is at this corner, he could probably see to here. But if you were right over the wall and stayed on this side of the wall, he probably couldn't see you. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So they're going to push in and try to clear the room out. Okay. Let me roll for that real quick. All right. Yeah. So as the two members push in, they see two guys sitting in chairs watching a TV and easily clear the two out. But back in the right-hand corner, there's a third guy who opens fire on the two of them. And so let me have him open fire. So with his chance to hit, that makes it 19. So he hits the two units for 4 points of damage. Yes. He opens fire full auto and hits both. So that means you've got a 6. Got a 6. 10. Sorry, I can keep track of myself. Yep. Upon hearing him open fire, the two stand up. They haven't yet noticed the two down here, but they are now on alert, as is the third over here, and they are beginning to comb this compound. Okay. Roll for hit. You only have to roll once. I'll assume. Well, no, I'll give you one roll for each of them. That way, if one of them shoots wildly, that hits. All right. So the first one hits. The second one misses. So for the first one, you do 10 points of damage. Yeah. So the first guy slumps down in his chair as he starts to get up. Shot clean through the head, collapses. The second guy, upon seeing his buddy fall over, jumps to the right to try and get into cover, trying to avoid that position of fire, realizing that y'all are firing down that hallway, and he shouts for the other guy to come over. So both of them are over here currently, trying to take cover from y'all. All right. All right. Roll for hit. Yep. Okay. Okay. Yep. All right. So that is a +6. So you hit, and after he opens fire, you quickly return fire. He falls back onto a couch. His brain's leaking out of it. Very clearly dead. As he falls back and your friend goes to breach the other room with a frag, from the other side you hear a very authoritative shouting, giving orders, telling everyone to sort of line up for the door to kind of give it cover. And you think that one of your targets might be in that room because they sound like somebody high up. Either way, if you capture them, it'll help get your team intel on the terrorist cell overall, but if you have to kill them, you have to kill them. It's better them dead than alive. Hmm. Okay, so like down here. Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So yes. So throw start with the frag guy out here. Roll for him. Okay. So with that, with an 8 fragmentation grenade, you can tell that where you tossed it, you're able to get him with maybe a little bit of shrapnel, enough to do maybe a point of damage or two, but nothing that's going to severely hinder them. Um, After they jump away from the frag as you toss it, sort of trying to get out of the way, and they're able to pretty easily get into some mud that just protects them a bit from the fragmentation. But for now, at least, they can't point their guns at you until you either move further in or they move back towards you. Okay. All right. No, you're good. So you're tossing in the other room. You're tossing the frag and having the next guy push up with him and give him cover, right? Okay. So roll for that frag. Ooh. All right. So as you can kind of tell from the door, once your guy throws the frag in and kind of takes a peek after it blows up, you easily catch about 3/4 of the guys that were in there. You count about 8 dead bodies. So there's at least, you're counting at least 4 or 5 more people over in a different corner, because you got in the top left and top right corners, you got 4 guys each. Down in the bottom left, you can tell there's about 4 more guys who are using some sandbags as cover. And one of them very clearly is some kind of officer. He has some insignias on his shoulder. You can tell he's pretty important. He's trying to get away from y'all and get upstairs. All right. So for the enemy's turn, the 2 gentlemen down here push back into the building to link up with the squad down below, and one of them throws a frag in y'all's direction because the 2 they're standing by the door, the breachers, and so I'm going to roll for them. All right. So he throws a frag. Unfortunately, the soldier is pretty poorly trained, as most of the terrorists are, and it sort of bounces off the wall, ricochets. It actually ends up bouncing a little bit too close to them, and he ends up dealing some damage to his teammates. Nobody killed, but he definitely has harmed some of his teammates. One of them looks pretty bloodied up. And with that, the officer yells at all of the troops that are in that building, the 6 guys that are right there, to open fire on you as he runs upstairs. And that's back to y'all's turn. So from what he can see, it looks pretty clear. The 2 guys that were over here ran in with the squad inside. So from what he can tell, at least this area seems pretty clear. He can't see anybody else standing in this area. Okay, so you want him to go like along the outside wall and try to peek in these windows and see what you can see. Okay. So he gets over to this wall, and he's able to quickly, because those windows are pretty clear and pretty open, he's able to peek in and see the soldiers are pretty focused on your guys right here, and the officer has run upstairs where he can't be shot at currently. But the 6 soldiers have their back to him, so he's got a pretty clear shot once he decides to take it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. To do that, he'll have to pass by some of the soldiers. He is in, I will say he is in powered armor. So if he full bolt sprints it and doesn't bother shooting, he probably could get past them relatively easy, but you will have to roll an acrobatics check for that. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay. 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 So with that, he opens fire. A few of the guys duck down, but he's able to take out the more wounded one who can't move quite as quickly, and one of the other soldiers who wasn't really looking in his direction was looking more at the other guy. So two of them are down, and you're left with four. Hmm. Okay. So the wounded soldier is going to, instead of getting his normal plus six, he'll only get plus four because he is wounded. Um, but yeah. Okay, yeah. So with a 15, he still hits pretty easily. Um, so he lands a pretty nice shot as he leans against the side of the wall, trying to give himself a little bit of cover. Takes out another one of the soldiers. Um, so you've got three left. Hmm. Hmm. All right. Yes, because he's in power armor, he does get a plus four. Okay. Okay. So yeah, while it does take him a good second to get up to full speed, he's able to really quickly just vault over the sandbags, completely jumping over the terrace. He does slip a little bit on the blood, but he's able to quickly regain his composure and just bolt up the stairs. Right as he gets to the top of the stairs, he's right behind the officer, and he basically just has him in tow. Like he doesn't quite have him in his hand yet, but he next turn he will be able to drag him to the ground and have him quite easily. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. So with that, two out of three of the last terrorists just drop like flies to the ground. He just immediately unloads two shots into them, switching between targets as he's firing. The last enemy soldier is going to return fire as he just watched all his comrades get taken out. It's a pretty wild shot. Um, yeah. So with that, he completely whiffs his shot, just goes completely wide. Bullets just ricochet along the wall, just leaving holes. But he's completely afraid. He almost looks like he's ready to surrender, but he's still got a gun just firing at the wall. And with that, the officer makes it to the top of the stairs. As the one soldier chases him down, he panics and immediately throws up his hands and he's like, "Don't shoot! Don't shoot!" And just immediately just drops to his knees his hands are shaking. His whole body is just like absolutely still. He's begging for his life practically. As he does that from the far end of the second floor, you hear a few soldiers upstairs moving something around and some dragging across the ground, and you hear what sounds like a female voice upstairs shouting for a couple of the soldiers to go downstairs and check out what's happening. And once it's y'all's turn, you can hear that there's a few of them moving towards the stairs, but they haven't quite made it there yet. Okay. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, from his angle, especially he have an advantage from the angle he's at, but you don't even need that. Through the angle he's at, he shoots through that back window just easily, just popping him real quick, um, giving clear range for the rest of the soldiers to move into the room and make sure it's completely clear. All right. With him surrendering, it's pretty simple. You throw him in cuffs. One of you will have to have a hold of him or have him on the ground, or he might run away. A lot of that depends on the combat and how well it's going in your favor against it. But for now, it seems like he's pretty willing to just do whatever you say to keep himself alive. Hmm. Okay. Um, okay. So you're on the second floor, and the noise you heard was from the third floor. So if you want, you can put a explosive charge. Yeah. If you want to do that, I would give you a roll for explosives, and with this, you're not going to get any bonus because it's not too hard to do, so you don't have to roll very high, but you just got to do a basic roll to make sure you can actually plant it properly on the ceiling, and it's not like going to fall off or anything. Oh yeah. So your explosive expert runs up and he just starts shoving as much of his explosives as he can up on the ceiling. He uses some of the cracks in the ceiling to kind of fit it in there to make sure it all fits. Um, and I'm assuming y'all want to move back and out of the explosive range. So yeah. So the all of you get on the stairs leading down to the first floor, getting far away from where the explosives are set, and the explosives officer sets off the clackers, and you hear a very loud boom across the entire building. When out from above the second floor drops an improved crew manned weapon that just is obliterated upon impact because it just the explosive force plus the falling just destroys half the weapon. It's very easily crushed. Two of the soldiers fall in there with it, dying upon landing, just smacking their heads so hard against the floor. As you look up through that hole, you can see two more soldiers standing nearest to the hole, as well as an officer standing by the hole. You can't see who else is in the room, but you at least see those three, and they immediately back away from the hole. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So from the top of the stairs, you hear a very female, distinct voice yell out, "You can take my, you can take it from my cold dead hands, but I'm not giving you any information, you filthy pigs." Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. All right. So as you get to the top of the third stairs, or the stairs to the third floor, there's a door there, sort of barred by some wooden braces from the other side. You can tell you probably have to use your second set of explosives to bust through it. Um, all right. So roll for explosives should be pretty simple, but yeah, even with that, you're pretty good. It looks like you're gonna leave part of the door intact, but enough of it blows off the hinges that you can very easily still make your way in. Um, and as the dust sort of clears, you can kind of see some shadows against the wall and tell that there's not too many people in here. There's probably five or six soldiers as well as the officer, enough to put up a fight, but not to be of any serious danger. All right. So as you move into the room and start shouting for them to put their hands up, two of the soldiers comply, the ones nearest the door, and immediately the officer opens fire on them, killing them, and yells at the other ones to start shooting at you, or else she'll shoot them next. And two of the soldiers immediately comply and open fire on you. So let me roll these guys. Yeah, so that one hits. That one does not. So one of them goes wide, too nervous. He sort of hits the wall around, but the other one shoots one of the soldiers. I'm assuming you sent the healthy ones in first. So injures one of your soldiers going in. He's still doing pretty well, but he's taking a few bullets in the arm. Um, the female officer then opens fire at the wall, trying to just shoot at y'all, get any shots she can, and she hits one of the injured soldiers through the wall. Um, Luckily, her pistol only does 2 points of damage, so one of your soldiers is at four instead of six. Um, but otherwise, it's. Mm-hmm. All right. So as you move in, I want you to roll just for a dexterity save. Just you get an additional +4 because of your power armor, just to make sure they don't aren't able to resist the hand-to-hand combat when you're knocking them out, knocking them unconscious. Yeah. So you're able to easily knock out the soldiers. They're really unprepared for the powered armor just to punch through them. You easily knock them all out. The only one that's really even able to barely stay conscious is the officer. As y'all tie her up and arrest her, she's still spouting and screaming at y'all, spitting blood everywhere. When all of a sudden she bangs her head against the ground, and you see some lightning flash in her mouth, and suddenly she just falls over limp. She is bitten into an electric pill that works like a cyanide pill. No, so she bites into it and falls limp dead. Okay. All right. Yeah. So you take a few minutes to kind of gather yourselves, ID what you do have, and start pushing downstairs. As you start to leave out this side door to try and leave, I'm assuming that's the way you want to go. Okay. You can see two more soldiers come up these stairs to get this sort of overlook, and from where they're at, they don't have a very good shot at you, but they just start taking some pot shots with some light personnel sniper rifles. And with that, yeah, they pretty easily miss because they're using some pretty outdated weapons. Y'all are able to quickly and easily just move between these walls and get to this other side of the gate where you're pretty well protected between against this wall. If you want to move out, you will have to make a run for it because they do have vision, but with their current shots, they're not doing a whole lot, so you're probably not too worried about it. But yeah. All right. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. I know what you mean. Um, so yeah, so as you make it to the shuttle, you start taking off across the compound. You can see there's an AA gun, though luckily with how many soldiers y'all wiped out, there's not really anyone there to man it. The two soldiers are up here should have been manning it, but instead they were too busy trying to take pot shots at y'all. As you leave, you actually get a call out from the Black Wolf ships flying overhead, and they actually drop two railgun rounds onto the compound just to kind of soften it up a bit for the troops that'll come back later to clear it actually fully out. But yeah, and that's the raid. That went actually quite well. I tried to not make it too difficult because I wanted it to be a little uh, easier for this first run. Get some intel.